So, what happens when you're on a mission from God and you fail catastrophically? Not just once, but twice. Today, we're diving into an ancient quest for a sacred record, a mission that really pushes a family to its absolute breaking point and makes you question the very nature of faith.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the heart of ancient Jerusalem, around 600 BC. I want you to just imagine the sounds, the smells of a city that is just teetering on the edge of collapse. It's packed with political drama and prophetic warnings. And it's into this powder keg that our story's heroes are sent back.
So, really, put yourself in their shoes for a second. You believe you're on a mission from God, right? But your first try ends with a death threat. Your second attempt, well, it cost you literally everything you own. You have failed twice and spectacularly. So what do you do next? I mean, that's the real question at the heart of this story.
It all kicks off with a patriarch, a prophet named Lehi. He has a dream, a message he is certain comes directly from God. And the command is this: send your 4 sons back into the very city they just barely escaped, on a mission that is as dangerous as it is crucial.
And what is this mission, you ask? To get their hands on something called the brass plates. Now look, these aren't just some old historical documents. They contain the sacred history of their people and, just as important, their own family tree, their genealogy. The big problem? They are in the possession of a very powerful and, as we're about to find out, a very ruthless man named Laban.
So this command, it immediately splits the family right down the middle. On one side, you've got the older brothers, Laban and Lemuel, and they just see the danger. They're murmuring, saying it is a hard thing. But their younger brother, Nephi, he sees it from a totally different angle. His response is just pure faith. I will go and do. And this clash, this tension between doubt and faith, that's what's going to fuel this entire story.
All right, so with Nephi's confidence kind of pushing them forward, the 4 brothers head back into Jerusalem. They have their mission. Now they need a plan.
Their first approach is actually pretty logical. They decide to cast lots to figure out who should go, and the lot falls to the eldest brother, Laban. So Laban goes to Laban's house, and he just asks for the records. It's a straightforward, maybe even a little naive request. And well, it goes really, really wrong. Laban's reaction is just swift and brutal. He doesn't just say no, he calls Laban a robber and threatens to kill him on the spot. So the first attempt isn't just a failure, it's a terrifying, life-threatening disaster. Laban barely gets out of there alive.
So after that, you can imagine Lama and his other brother are ready to just give up, run back to the wilderness. But Nephi, he refuses to quit. He rallies them, he insists they cannot go back empty-handed, and he comes up with a new plan, one that is going to raise the stakes to a completely different level.
The new strategy is basically bartering. They decide to go back to their father's old house and gather up every last piece of gold, silver, and all the precious things they had to leave behind when they first fled Jerusalem. They're going to try to buy the plates. And listen, we are not talking about a little bit of cash here. The source text says this was an exceedingly great fortune. They are literally gathering up every single thing of value their family has left in the world to make this second attempt work.
But this plan backfires even worse than the first one. The moment Laban sees all that wealth, his greed just completely takes over. Instead of making a trade, he just takes it. He seizes their entire fortune, and then he sends his servants to murder them, probably so there are no witnesses. And this is just a total catastrophe. The second attempt is a complete disaster. They once again have to run for their lives, but this time, they've also lost their entire family fortune. They've failed twice, and now they have absolutely nothing.
This is really the lowest point of the whole story. The brothers manage to escape, and they find a place to hide in a cave just outside the city walls. They are defeated, they are penniless, and now the family bond itself just starts to violently fall apart.
All that blame and frustration just erupts into violence. Laban and Lemuel turn on their younger brothers, Nephi and Sam. The text says they berated them with hard words, and then they actually started beating them with a rod. The mission has totally collapsed, and now so has the family.
And then, right at that moment, just as the violence is hitting its peak, in their darkest moment of despair, something impossible happens. A supernatural being shows up.
Now, it's really important to note how the source material describes this. When we hear the word angel, right, we all picture wings and a halo. But the text is very specific here. It describes this being simply as a brightly illuminated personage who came and stood before them. No wings, no halo. just a radiant, shining person.
The angel's first words are a sharp rebuke, and it immediately stops the fighting. But then it does something else, something huge. It totally reframes their entire family dynamic. It declares that God has chosen the younger brother, Nephi, to be a ruler over his older siblings. I mean, this is a massive reversal of the cultural norms of the day.
So after that shocking statement, the angel gives them a promise. And this isn't just a bit of encouragement, this is a divine guarantee. It says they will go back to Jerusalem a third time, and this time, the Lord will deliver Laban into their hands. Success is now a sure thing.
You'd think that would be it, right? I mean, you see an angel, you get a divine promise, problem solved. Well, what's so fascinating and so human is what happens the second the angel leaves. Laban and Lemuel go right back to complaining. They actually ask, how is it possible that the Lord will deliver Laban into our hands?
And that's where we're going to leave this part of the story, because it forces us to ask a really deep question about ourselves, about human nature. After a direct, divine, miraculous intervention, how can fear and doubt creep back in so fast? What does that really say about the nature of belief itself? It's definitely something to think about.